Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. Now, we've been gone for about a week. We had a lot of projects we were working on, things that were extremely time-consuming, so it's nice to get back here and get right back into the groove of things and, getting this content out that I really think is extremely important for everybody. So for today's episode, I want to I don't want to say gloat, but I kind of want to, brag about myself a little bit here because, well, I sort of called it. I said that FSD was going to come out by the end of the year. And as of right now, it looks like that may be the case. If you guys don't recall, I'll leave a card right here where you can see the video where I talked about FSD coming out live by the end of 2021. Okay, now keep in mind, it's not a reality yet. These are just I don't even want to say rumors because it's, words straight from the horse's mouth. It's Elon Musk tweeting, which we'll take a look at these in a second. But it's very exciting, and it looks like that the prediction and the future is coming a lot faster than what we think. Okay, so before we get into it and get into all the content that I want to cover for today's episode, if you enjoy this type of content, if you want to help the channel out, if you want to help us grow, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to Twitter to see a little bit about what I've been talking about. So here we can see that there's a tweet asking Elon Musk if there's any update on the public Fsd Beta. So for those of you who don't know, the Fsd Beta, right, that's Tesla's full self-driving, essentially the autonomous robo-taxi, that whole scenario, the technology that's going to make it so that humans don't have to drive anymore. That's what the FSD is. The beta is the iteration and them working on this software stack. Now, the public FSD Beta is whenever they do a wide release, okay? And this is what we're referring to. This is what I'm talking about that I believe is going to be released before the end of the year. Okay, the public FSD Beta essentially will go from a currently, block of 2,000 beta testers to giving it out to everybody. Okay, the way it's been touted by Elon is essentially it's a button that you're just going to press and boom, just like that, you're going to have FSD. Okay, now at that point, it'll probably still be beta, but the exciting thing is that it'll be good enough, it'll be safe enough at the point where it's ready for mass adoption to be beta testers. So let's see what Elon had to say. Elon says, we should be there with beta 10. Okay, right now we're on 9.2. which goes out a week from Friday, okay? And this was this past Friday before this current weekend. No point on a release this week. So when he says no point on a release this week, the way that they've been going about all of the releases for full self-driving is that every 2 weeks a new release would come out. So we first had FSD 9.0, and then we had FSD 9.1, and then 9.2 with a 2-week span in between each one of those releases. Okay, so the next one that's supposed to come out is FSD 9.3. Now, it is out, but only for internal employees, okay? Elon actually tweeted about it. However, what he's saying here is that there's no point on releasing 9.3 or the rumored 9.4. What Elon's saying here is that, essentially saying, screw it. We're just going to wait. We're going to release beta 10 on the following Friday in a week. So essentially this coming up Friday, right, at the end of this week, beta 10 should come out, and that's the one that will eventually have the public release. And so what he goes on to say is it will have a completely retrained neural net. So we'll need another few weeks after that for tuning and bug fixes. So it'll still go out to all the 2,000 beta testers, okay, so they'll all get beta 10, but then it'll be another few weeks, so he's estimating about 4 weeks, for bugs and making sure that everything is going to be correct with it, right? So any anomalies or anything they can get in. With the 2,000 testers, they'll have a huge sample size to really, fine tune this and make sure that there's nothing that they're missing or any mistakes or anything, okay? That's why we have beta testing in general, okay? And then he goes on to say, best guess is public beta button, okay, that FSD button is in 4 weeks. Okay, 4 weeks. 4 weeks from this past Friday. So essentially 1 month. Okay, this means before October. And again, this is approximately, okay? This is a best guess. But odds are, best guess, 4 weeks, a month from now, before October, means that this FSD public beta button will be released well within before the end of this year. Okay, again, so this is why I'm saying, just a humble brag, not really bragging, more so just excited about what's going on here. The fact that it's coming out, people have been saying this is 5 years, 6 years, 7 years away from actually coming out. We all saw with Tesla AI Day, they are just on another level. They are doing things at another level. And for those of you wondering, oh, why haven't you made anything yet about the Tesla AI Day? Stuff's coming. Again, we were swamped last week with other projects we were working on. We're literally up until 1, 2 a.m., just about every night, just dealing with those projects. So, apologies to all the fans out there and all the supporters, but we're back on it. You'll be getting videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And a lot of that is going to come and talk more in depth about what we saw at AI Day. Again, for those of you who don't know, I'm a software engineer. I build data centers, so a lot of what was spoken to, it falls right under my wheelhouse, okay? Not am I just a software engineer, but I'm also a mechanical electrical engineer by trade, right? By degree, if you will. So a lot of that, is just within my wheelhouse, my circle of competency, and it's stuff that I can talk, fairly deep onto. But look out for those videos. So anyways, exciting thing here, right? Beta button coming out in 4 weeks. Very exciting. Okay, I want to show you guys one more tweet just because I found it pretty comical. Dave Lee, if you guys aren't familiar with him, highly recommend his channel. He puts out a lot of great content. He goes very in depth. He kind of, we have a similar style. A lot of things are just kind of stream of consciousness. We don't like to script things out or really plan too much about what we're going to talk about, just more so off the cuff rather than this whole polished, reality TV type style of podcasting. So anyways, great content. Go check him out. But he tweeted to Elon a little jest, if you will. He says, which is longer, question mark, with the, you can see the emoticon there. But he's asking 2 weeks or 4 weeks. As we all know, infamously, Elon said that Beta 9.0 was going to come out in 2 weeks. And he said that maybe for a total of 2.5 months straight. He was saying 2 weeks and 2 more weeks and 2 more weeks. So Dave put this poll out there saying, which is longer, 2 weeks or 4 weeks? Again, referring to Elon just now tweeting that the public version will be out in 4 weeks. And so you can see the majority of people here said 2 weeks is longer than 4 weeks. And Elon responded saying 2 weeks is longer than 4 weeks as well. So you got to love a CEO, someone like Elon, someone so busy who, doesn't take himself too seriously and can still joke around, and, he gets it, right? It's funny, but he knows that, no one's making fun of him, at least not in this context. We're all fans. We're all supporting what they're doing. And, you can't really hate on anybody who is being so transparent about what they guesstimate the timeline to be. He doesn't have to tell us anything, right? But he is, and it makes us excited. It makes us feel like we're part of the journey, right? And we get to see what's coming. So, for all of the Tesla team, really appreciate the transparency from everybody, and obviously Elon as well. It's something you guys don't have to do, and, really benefits all of us at home. All right, so with that said, we've talked a lot about what Tesla's coming out, but, what about everybody else? Well, recently, Sandy Munro got to go on a test drive with the most disgusting looking Mustang I've ever seen, the Mustang Mach-E, which I still stand my ground. That is not a Mustang, and that is coming from a Mustang fan. That is a Ford EV, not a Mustang. But anyways, using the Mach-E, Sandy Munro went on a test drive with a Ford employee, and they tested Ford's ADAS system, or autonomous driving assisted system. Yeah, it was a little awkward to say the least. But again, don't take my word for it. Let's jump into the video and let's take a look at the Blues Cruise version of Ford's. I don't even know what to call it. It's not full self-driving. It's not you'll see. Let's get into it.
Be doing a Ford Blue Cruise, which is their ADAS system. So let me jump in and let's get going.
So whenever you're comfortable, you can, the one
Yeah.
button on the left to activate,
Yeah.
and that'll set your speed and activate Blue Cruise for us.
I'm hoping for more speed, but this isn't. Let me just
Okay.
get over here a bit.
Sure.
It seems to be
That's
dead
good.
slow. Oh, here we go. We'll do that.
All right, so now you're in hands-free mode here, and again, the first time it's activated, it's going to remind you to monitor the environment,
Yeah.
and that will fade away, and then you are now back in hands-free zone.
Okay.
So we're driving our new Blue Cruise feature launching on the Mach-E, and this is a feature that allows you to drive with your hands off of the steering wheel in limited access divided highways like this one. We're supporting, as we launch this feature, almost 130,000 miles of hands-free, what we call blue zones in North America. And we're really excited to offer this feature to our Mach-E customers as well as F-150. At the moment, there's what we call a driver-facing camera that's on top of the steering column. I'll point to it here. It's actually facing the driver, and it's verifying that the driver has his or her eyes watching the road. And that is what we have in the system to ensure that the driver is monitoring the environment. And if, for whatever reason, the driver takes his or her eyes off the road for up to a few seconds, we'll give them a reminder to re-engage and continue to watch the road.
So I'm going to pause there real quick. So this essentially is the same thing that Tesla had 5-6 years ago. It's essentially just keeping you in between the lanes, and that's it. Okay, it's nothing other than that. And as mentioned, it's only available in the Mustang Mach-E and eventually in some of the F-150s. Probably just going to be the F-150 Lightning, maybe some of the higher end F-150s. But this is a very interesting juxtaposition between what Tesla does and what everybody else is attempting to do. In every single vehicle that Tesla sells, you have the entire sensor suite needed, which is essentially just a few sonar sensors and then just cameras, and the full self-driving computer, right? The in-house made chips and computer and everything from Tesla. They put it into every single Tesla they make. Okay, whether or not customers decide to purchase the full self-driving or the advanced autopilot or any of that, they get it regardless. Okay. Meanwhile, the Ford approach is essentially going to be, this is something that you can upgrade to. You can add these cameras or sensors or LiDAR or whatever, right? And it's only going to be in the very high-end models. So just that alone is two different ways of approach. Tesla's approach is essentially so that the second FSD is complete, just with the turn of a switch, every vehicle has it. They don't have to worry about the hardware. They're all equipped with it. They don't have to worry about the computers. They all have the computers immediately. Okay, this is, next level thinking. Okay, this is thinking 6 steps ahead. This is playing Go instead of checkers, which is what, Ford and everybody else is doing. Something else is interesting is that, they all talk about this hands-free, okay? Like, great, cool, it's hands-free. Like, but what does that really matter? It doesn't lane switch. It can't off-ramp you. Okay, you'll see in a second, it can barely handle turns. You have to take over. It can't just do it in perpetuity, right? In other words, in a Tesla, you get on, you drive on the highway, and you can drive autonomously, right, on the highway until you're done, until your end of your trip. This, there are certain map areas, or they call it blue zones, that this works on. It's not something that's ready. Okay, and it's not something where they're actually putting real engineering and thought into. Okay, it's funny. I see, Ford, I see GM, I see all of them, and they talk so much about, thinking this is where customer wants. These are what our customer wants. Listen, you're full of it. Okay, customers don't want something that is just geo-fenced. Okay, they don't want something that's boundary, limiting. Why would I pay for extra hardware and extra software costs just to be limited to what I can do? If I can't just take this vehicle and place it anywhere in the world and have it just drive, well, then you don't actually have an autonomous vehicle. Okay, you're not even close to it. Not saying Tesla is there, but you can pretty much take any Tesla, put it on any highway, and it's going to be good to go, right? Fsd Beta and what's going on right now, that's about solving the city streets problem. Okay, And probably before the end of this year, you can literally take a Tesla, put it anywhere in the world, and they can just drive. I don't care where it's at. All right, so these are the little differences, but let's keep watching, and you can see, make your own opinion about this blue Cruise, not to be mistaken with GM's Cruise. Right, I don't know what's going on there, but anyways, let's just keep watching.
But as long as that happens, and as long as you're in a blue zone, you can comfortably drive hands-free as we are right now. So the vehicle has a number of radars that are around the periphery of the vehicle that monitor the objects around it, and we also use a forward-facing camera on the windshield that also uses vision to monitor the objects around the vehicle as well. And that's all part of the Blue Cruise system with a driver-facing camera all together, controlling the speed of the vehicle, controlling the steering so that it stays in the center of its lane, and in this case, again, in a hands-free mode.
Okay, so we're coming up to University right now, I think. Oh, this is
a little bit.
Sorry.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyway, when we get there, will it take the off-ramp, or will it just say drive from now on?
Yeah, so when we launch this feature, it's going to continue in this lane until you change lanes manually, take an off-ramp manually. The navigation isn't necessarily integrated into the feature.
I see.
So,
okay.
All right, so obviously you just heard there, Sandy asked if there's an off-ramp I have to take. Would the vehicle take it, or do I have to manually do it? And with the Blue's Cruise system, it's so weird saying Blue's Cruise because I keep wanting to say Blue's Clues. Like, it sounds so similar. And it's not like I, realized that. I saw that somewhere else. And like now every time I say it, Blue's Cruise, all I'm thinking is Blue's Clues. I just want to sit here, boo, 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 boo. Like, that's all I'm thinking in my head. Yeah, that was pretty good, wasn't it? Yeah. So anyways, the fact that you have to manually do it, like, that's just weird in general. Like, I don't understand the point of that. But also this whole idea that if I'm on the highway and I want to go to a certain destination and I'm using this feature so that I don't have to like fully be paying attention, if the vehicle can't switch lanes on its own, that could possibly be even more of a dangerous situation, because if I'm not paying attention and my exit's coming up and all of a sudden I realize, oh, I have to get over there, I might be trying to, I don't know, maybe that's a stretch, but I've seen it so many times where someone realizes an exit's coming up and they just go ahead and they try to get over as quick as they can because God forbid they have to turn around. I don't know if this makes things any safer, right? And also, he mentioned that maps aren't integrated into it. Why wouldn't you have a mapping system integrated with your navigation system? Or maybe the navigation system isn't part of the Blue's Cruise system. That's just weird. Okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense. You would want both of them to be overlapping so you understand where you are and where things are in relation to you, right? I don't know. Hopefully they change that in the future.
Lane changes are manual. You would manually indicate that you want to shift left or right. Hands back on the steering wheel, change lanes. Once you're centered, the vehicle will offer hands-free once again after you change lanes manually.
Okay, so it doesn't force you into the right lane then?
Correct. Yep, we rely on the driver to put the vehicle in whatever lane the driver wants to be in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And so I've asked for 79, you can see here, but the car ahead of me is only going 72, so
there's like an
the
adaptive
assist is keeping me whatever, looks like 5 car lengths away, so that if something bad happens, the brakes will go on.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So that's a good feature. I actually do not like the feature of being shoved over to the right-hand lane. It took me quite a while to figure out how to turn that off when I was in a Tesla.
Interesting.
So this part I like. Now,
to be clear, with Sandy saying that he doesn't like in a Tesla, Sandy said multiple times because he drives very aggressively. What Tesla will do is if you're not essentially accelerating or trying to make a pass of a vehicle, the Tesla will put you into the right lane. Okay. In many states, that's a legal requirement, like North Carolina, for example, right? If you're not passing a vehicle, you must be in the right lane, right? Otherwise, that's a traffic violation. Okay. And it's a safety thing too, right? If you're not, making an aggressive move, or if you're not going at a faster pace, right, it makes sense for you to be in the right lane rather than creating a hazard by you not moving as fast enough. And then whenever Sandy had his one-on-one with Elon a few months back, Elon actually told him and showed him how he could just turn that off on his vehicle so that it doesn't take him over to the right lane. So just a little context onto what he was talking about here.
I'm going to ask a question. Does this travel dead accurate to the center of the dotted lines here, or are we justified to one side or another?
And I'm gonna, before Ford answers this question, I want to explain why Sandy's asking this. Okay, if I have it set up so that my ADAS system says, hey, I want to be directly in the middle of the lane, and that's the command I'm giving it, that's actually that's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? That's a very simplistic way of driving. Okay, yes, you want to be dead nuts accurate in between the markers for your lane. However, it's not the way you should actually be driving, and it's not taking physics and the dynamic world into account. Okay, sometimes you have objects in the middle of the road. Sometimes you have potholes. Sometimes you have a slight turn where the road curves. And at that time, what you actually want to do, right, the whole effect of centripetal force, right, it wants to send you out. So you actually want to be hugging that outer line. You don't want to stay right in the middle perfectly, right? So these are some of the things that, if you make something so binary, saying stay X amount of inches on either side and keep me here, it's actually not a great driving experience. And it's a very simplified way of figuring out how to, I guess, create your autonomous vehicle. Now, give Ford a break, right? They're just starting this out, right? So it's not like I almost said Blue's Clues. It's not like Blue's Cruise is actually, quite there yet, right? They're just starting off, so they're just getting off the block. So, I don't want to be too harsh on them or anything of that nature, because everybody has to start somewhere. But that's really why he's asking. Sandy won't prod on this one too much because he's trying to be somewhat respectful, and it's hard for him, right? How do you go about being yourself and honest, but at the same time try not to be too disrespectful to Ford when they're trying to show you what they're working on, and you have a Tesla and you know what it's like, and you've been in the betas, right? So, Sandy's trying to toe that line of respectfulness while still being honest and transparent with Ford.
So as we're launching the feature, we're positioning the vehicle in the center of the lane. And we allow the driver to actually, if the driver would like to position the vehicle slightly left or slightly right within the lane, you can do so. Yeah. And the feature will not cancel if you tend to manually shift it, say away from a semi-truck or something like that. We allow the driver to position the vehicle slightly off center if they'd like to.
Do you do if you're driving fast, it's nice to apex, like if I'm taking like this curve here and I happen to be in the right-hand lane, I would normally, keep hands.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a sharp curve. This one and the next one, it's...
Okay, so I'm not sure if you're aware of what just happened there, but the display right in front of the steering wheel for Sandy Monroe just flashed red, and essentially it's telling him to take over. Okay, so the vehicle, the ADAS system could not handle this, what he's calling a sharp turn. Okay, you're going to hear Ford call it a sharp turn or sharp turn multiple times over the next minute. Please do me a favor. Look at this video right now. In what world is this a sharp turn? This is barely a turn. This is almost just a straightaway. Okay, and listen for it as well, because Sandy again tries to be so respectful, and he does not call it a sharp turn, but he'll use other words, trying to describe a turn of such nature. You'll see, but your own eyes looking at this is not a sharp turn at all. All right, let's continue.
Going to keep you safe. It's going to ask you to put your hands back on the steering wheel, and I'm glad that you noticed that. That's an indication that our immersive cluster with all of its animations is catching your eye. So now that we're through the curve, it's going to offer hands-free back to you. And then once it approaches this next one, it'll likely ask you to revert hands-on once again. And it really only does that for sharp curves, as these two curves are. As you noticed, back a bit.
So we're going to just pop that off. He wants in and over anyway, so let's do this.
We'll get off the university. Is that what we do here?
Did you hear him say the whole immersive cluster with all of our animation? That's the kind of marketing BS terms I just hate. Like, it's literally like when you get a new computer, or just use Windows for example. You get a new Windows computer and you have like 50 million different icons and programs already downloaded on there that you don't care about. It's just garbage, but it's just marketing BS that's hitting you in the face. In terms like, our immersive cluster, there's nothing immersive about it. Okay, like, just stop. It's this kind of stuff that it immediately sends like red flags and like, rings in the ear. Like, all right, what are you trying to sell me here? I don't know. There's just something about that just irks me.
Just put that back on. Ready, but not doing anything. Hang on. So let me get this going again.
Yeah, so it looks like you accidentally bumped the cruise control off button. So if you hit the leftmost button just to reactivate...
Well, I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't have done it on that curve.
Oh, that's probably true. So here we are, back in enhance. Now that we're out of that really sharp...
So Sandy just told Ford how and why it works. Ford didn't even know why it didn't turn back on. I thought that was pretty funny.
Curve, it'll offer you hands-free again. And it'll handle, reasonable curves. It's only those few places... like we have around this area where you have sharp curves where we ask the driver to revert back to the hands on the wheel.
So how far down the road are we before you'll be able to do normal city driving, or in this case, 2-lane highways and things like that?
Yes.
He'll never answer this question. Listen to the roundabout, just BS politics type jargon he's going to spew out without actually answering this question.
So we are working to continually improve and enhance the features, and I think universities where you want to go.
Away.
Yep. So what we launch with, we'll have the ability to upgrade over time with our Ford Power Up software updates, and we've already talked about a few enhancements that we'll be offering our customers. Things like lane change assist, where instead of manually changing lanes, Blue Cruise will help the drivers do that in an automated fashion. That we've announced that's coming soon, as is the ability to control the speed of vehicles if you're going around sharp curves, what we call predictive speed assist. Those curves back there, we would...
okay, so just to interrupt, that's my exit. Is it going to do anything?
No, so you'll need to manually exit here, and now you're in control, fully control the vehicle again now.
Okay, so again, with my Tesla, it'll take me down here and then it'll say take over, like about here.
Okay.
So that's a feature that's quite handy, especially if you're not paying attention or talking on a cell phone, or your wife is yelling at you. So that's kind of like one feature. It'd be great if you could add.
Okay.
So, while we're at the stoplight here, I will tell you that I do like the Tesla driving experience better. And the reason for that is because I do not have to worry about a sharp or a like a narrow sweeping curve or whatnot. I've never had the
You hear how he says a narrow sweeping curve instead of a sharp curve?
autopilot or whatever you want to call it. I never had that turn off. So those are two things that I guess I can say that I'm not 100% happy with. I will tell you too that it gives me a really when you're going around a curve and whatnot. I don't know if it shows up in the camera, but I put my hands back up because I wasn't quite sure where it was going to be and what was going to happen. So those are two things that I think need to be improved upon. And like I said, I'm not a good news consultant, but I will tell you that the car drives nice. I like the way it drives, but I think that if I was going to be in charge of this, I would suggest that first off, that sweeping curve stuff or fairly sharp or whatever it is, you need to address that. I think that would be something that you absolutely flat out would want to have better than what you've got.
Okay.
And the reason basically is that I got a pension plan that I need to be funded, fully funded, and I want to see you guys. Is that it? Good.
That's it.
So I'll turn this off. So anyway, all in all, it was okay, but I guess I've been a little bit spoiled by watching what Tesla's been doing with the full self-driving beta. That is really impressive, and I'm going to suggest that somehow, if you can, get your hands on that and try it out. It'll help you understand what I was talking about as far as improvements are concerned. So,
So, all right. So let's cap this off. The end here, again, Sandy's trying to be so respectful as much as he can. I mean, he even says, I'm not a great, news consultant when it comes to stuff because he's just going to be honest. He's telling them, listen, that whole curve issue, right? Whatever you want to call it, a sweeping curve, a sharp curve, whatever you want to call it, that cannot be something that happens. He referenced Tesla, right? Same with Tesla. He's never had that issue. He's never had it turn off on him or anything. Whereas with Ford, it turned off the cruise control essentially so that he had to go grab on during the turn. Okay, that's scary, is what he's saying. He references, I have a pension plan that I need to be fully funded. In other words, he's saying, I don't want to die because of this. I can't be in the middle of a curve and all of a sudden it's telling me to take over. What if I'm not paying attention? Okay, should I be paying attention? Yes, absolutely. Everybody should be. These are all just, experiments up to this point. However, what if? Okay, this is why Tesla at all times, or not at all times, but every, 10 to 15 seconds, make sure that you have some kind of force on the steering wheel to make sure you're there, to make sure that you're actually holding on to it. Okay, everybody was crying about the fact that they don't have any cameras watching, make sure you're paying attention. Well, now Tesla has that and they kept the weighted steering wheel, right? Whereas everybody else is saying, oh, hands-free, yet you just saw what happens with hands-free. Okay, and then, it's almost, I almost feel bad for the Ford employee who had to go through this with Sandy, because it was almost like you had a teacher and she had to grade your test in front of you and you came out with like a D minus. And she said, look, you did okay. In other words, trying to be nice and saying, look, I can tell you tried, but why don't you go meet up with Timmy, who got 100% on the test, and see if you can learn something from Timmy or if Timmy can help you. That's what Sandy just said to Ford. He literally just told them, I don't know if you guys can, but you need to try and get your hands on the Tesla with the Fsd Beta and see what that's like. He's telling them to go in this whole demo. The whole idea was to show off what Blue's Cruise can do. And the end result is Sandy telling Ford, you have to go check out what Tesla can do. Okay, and he's trying to be nice. You know, he's saying it's okay. He even said the car drives really smoothly, but unfortunately, this wasn't a test about how the vehicle drives. It's about the ADAS system. Okay, so we're going to leave it there with regards to Sandy Munro and this entire test drive and experiment with Blues Cruise. Oh man, I thought I messed it up, but I didn't. It is Blues Cruise. Okay, everybody. So let's wrap up this video. Again, thanks for being patient with us. We had a busy week. You know, we had a lot going on. We were up literally up until midnight, 1 a.m. every single day after our normal day jobs, working on some other stuff. But again, we're back on our Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. So keep an eye out for more content coming. What we saw here, again, was an example of where everybody else is in comparison to Tesla. Tesla, as I said before, right? You saw the video card. You can go look at one of the first videos I ever made. Will come out with their full self-driving before the end of this year. Okay, it's happening. It's going to happen. So I don't know what to say about everybody else. Everyone's trying to catch up in the electric vehicle game and trying to just figure that out and trying to make a profitable EV. Tesla's been doing that. They're going to keep doing that. They have 2 factories coming online in October, and now everybody, it's almost going to be game, set, match. When Tesla comes out with full self-driving, why would you buy any other vehicle? Why? I mean, maybe for nostalgic purposes, but you know, I'm not saying that every car is gonna go, or every car company is gonna go bankrupt, or that no one's gonna buy their vehicles. But anybody with half a brain, if a vehicle is fully electric and it can drive itself, why would you go with anything else? Why? It makes 0 sense. But that's just one man's opinion. All right, so again, thank you everybody. I appreciate you sticking to the end. Do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and I'll see you guys on the next video coming out on Wednesday. Cheers.